Hey everyone, welcome back to Hit Wicket. We know it's been a while since we've done a video. We did have a couple of breaks here and there, but we are back now. And of course, in line with this new Ashes series that started, that first test was absolutely brilliant to watch. It's been compared to Headingley 2019, Edgbaston 2005. It definitely does rate up there. It was a really good match to see. Australia coming out on top, of course, beating Bazball, but we do have a couple of points that we want to go through, and I think the first and foremost is Khawaja the Magnificent. I mean, what a couple of knocks from him. That first knock, his average in England, I think, was 19 or 17, something in
definitely under 20.
Yeah, it was quite low leading into this
maybe
match.
I thought maybe it was like 22 or something like that.
No, I think it was under 20. Yeah, because his high score was only like 55 or something. It was very low leading into this match, and yeah, I was a bit surprised actually with the previews that I saw on other channels and just by like the larger media that no one was really talking about Khawaja at all, like that he has a good chance of getting runs. They're all talking about like Smith, Labuschagne, Head, of course, but no one was mentioning Khawaja, and I'm like, Khawaja's had a pretty good damn year in this last year. He's been Australia's best batsman in all conditions, Pakistan, India, Australia, whatever it is. And now he started here like that. I mean, yeah, what do you think of, well, his knock in general and what it means in the greater context of things?
Yeah, so I think, his first innings knock was outstanding. He did face some quite high-quality bowling from England. They kept it tight for long periods of time. Yeah, he sort of just, powered through it. He looked like he had a very clear sort of batting plan, which was, sort of keep out the fuller balls, not look to drive overly too much. And then as soon as the English bowlers dropped short, he would pounce anything short, which looked like, to me, what his plan was. Yeah. He had a lot of pull shots of balls, which may not necessarily have been that short. He did, and then the other part of his plan was to look to take on Moeen Ali, which he did do. Yeah. As soon as he ever pitched, he looked to take him down to the ground. As soon as he bowled short, he looked to really pound him like through mid-wicket region till they end up putting some protection out there. So he had a very clear game plan on the first innings, it looked like. Even in the second innings, he also had a different game plan, but it was pretty obvious to me that he was really trying to like knuckle down and try to take the game very deep. Yeah. Contrast to his first innings, which was a bit different. He was trying, he was still playing a strike around about 50, or I think a bit lower. Yeah. But English bowlers did bowl quite well, but he was able to just use that concentration and just bat. Yeah. And then more so in the second innings, because, it was a bit more tougher. The pitch was probably bouncing a bit more variable. You know how it is on the fifth day wicket. Everyone here knows how it is. Fifth day wicket is pretty tough to bat on. But that concentration he showed was next level. Yeah. And it's amazing. Like some of the media, I've even seen comments on people like through social media and stuff like that being critical about how his performance was, even though he scored so many runs. Yeah. Saying that he was playing negative, etc., etc., etc. Look, I think you need to give credit to the English bowlers. They actually did bowl relatively well. Yeah. Given the circumstances, this is why the game was so close. So, they're able to put a lot of pressure on him, but he didn't give up. He kept pushing through. He kept, really knuckling down and digging in deep for his team. And at the end of the day, without his runs, Australia would be, other side of that game. So, exactly. Yeah, it was outstanding batting from him. And, yeah, it was just terrific. But yeah, I guess moving on, this is probably one of the rare times, we have some information that Naba wrote down, but apparently this was Australia's, first time they won with pretty much no contributions from Labuschagne and Smith. This is like their lowest combined aggregate in the match, which was 34 runs. So yeah, what do you make of that? And and I'm guessing you're probably going to say this as well, but I'm sure that would give a lot of confidence to Australia that even without their two big guns, still be able to win. So yeah, what do you think of that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what Andrew McDonald was actually mentioning in the press conference, that batsmen like Smith and Marnus, they don't miss out too often. Clearly by their records, they don't miss out too often. And they'll be hitting 10,000 balls in the nets. Let me tell you that. After not being able to get runs, both of them will be absolutely spewing. Although they'll be happy for the win, but personally they'll definitely want to like improve, and especially Marnus because he got out the same way twice, and the fact that Broad was mentioning this plan before the series started, that he's got like a new delivery to get both of them, and he actually did get three out of four. He got them both like dismissals. So that'll definitely play on Labuschagne's mind for sure, and he'll definitely look to improve. But yeah, Australia will take a lot of confidence that they won without both of them. It's a rare time, and that I think like further accentuates Khawaja's knocks of what he did, because had he not been able to play that, usually Marnus and Smith play that tough knock. They also don't go that high strike rates either. But if they scored the 100, no one would say anything. It's just because it's Khawaja, I guess. But it was very good from Australia. But I'm sure they'll come good eventually in the series. A bit of a worry for Marnus. He got out the same way twice, but good players always come back. So I hope he does come back for that. Leading on from there, we go to the further Australians. We go down the order a bit to our best batsmen at number 9, number 8 and 9, Pat Collins, skipper, and Nathan Lyon. I think we have to start off with the ball. That was the majority of their contribution. Of course, we'll talk about the bat soon enough. But with the ball, they were both brilliant. Like, honestly brilliant. In that second innings, I think Australia bowled 60, 70 overs, something like that. And I remember they bowled like 45 of those overs or something and took 8 of the wickets. It was absolutely brilliant, especially from Cummins bowling like 20 overs in like a 70 over innings. That's unheard of, really. But yeah, what did you think of their performances, especially like with the ball?
Yeah, I think when Lyon also bowled quite well in the first innings. He did end up with 8 in the total.
4 and 4, yeah.
Yeah, so 8 in the game. First innings not exactly easy to bowl as an off spinner, but he did go for like some runs because he had to work very hard for those wickets on the first day wicket, where it's probably not turning a lot. But he was able to get 4 wickets there, and then into the second dig, he also bowled pretty well, to be honest. He kept it. He did keep it a lot tighter in the second innings. And he picked up the huge wicket of Joe Root. Exactly. He also got Bairstow, which is another big wicket. Who else did he get? I'm just thinking now. I remember he got Joe Root in the second innings. He got Bairstow in the second innings. He got Bairstow in the first innings as well. Both crucial.
Those are the 2 biggest wickets.
Exactly. Yeah, he bowled exceptionally well. Kept it really tight and was spinning the ball. Outstanding bowling from him. But yeah, moving on to Cummins now. He also bowled tremendously well and impressed. And actually, interestingly, I felt like he was bowling a lot better to the left-handers this test, which is something I don't usually say about Cummins. I feel like he struggles a little bit to lefties, but he actually bowled very well to Stokes on that back in. And he also, he keeps getting Duckett. He got Duckett in the second innings. So first innings was Hazel, but I'm pretty sure in the second innings he got, didn't he? Yeah, nicked him off. Yeah. So he actually was bowling a lot better to the left-handers, which was good to see. But yeah, again, he just bowled really good. And that in-swinging Yorker to Ollie Perth was just, that was so good. I don't know, man. Just like a brilliant setup. Great fast bowling. It's really good to see him. And obviously, he took that confidence into his batting. Both Cummins batted well in the first innings, got some important runs, and the second innings, we all know what he did there. So, outstanding 44 not out with Lyon at 16. Honestly, I was watching that game, and when Carey got out, I watched like a bit more, maybe like 5-10 minutes, and I was like, oh, new ball's coming in a few overs, Australia's done. So I went to bed. It's probably like 3:30 a.m. or something like that about here. So I went to bed, and I woke up, I was getting ready for work, and I was like, oh, I better check my phone. And then before I actually checked my phone, I saw a message from Naba because he went off to work, and he was like, "Holy shit!" As soon as I saw like that first time, I'm like, "Holy shit, they must have won!" So I went to ESPN, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I see like Cummins like with his bat up and stuff. I was like, "Oh shit!" So yeah, it was incredible by Lyon and Cummins to be able to get through they faced Almost a lot of period, but then to get to the new ball, to score off the new ball and win, that was big dent. That's gonna leave on the English camp, that's for sure. Moving on to the next point. So we've got some ICC updated rankings, but the big one, I guess, is Joe moving to first. So what do you make of that? Do you think he deserves to be at number one? Yeah. What are your thoughts on Joe Root moving to the first place?
Yeah, I think Joe Root's been the best batsman in the last 2 years, like overall. Khawaja's actually very close to that as well, to be honest. He's probably second, if not tying with Joe Root at first. And you can take into consideration Khawaja opens the batting too. But yeah, Joe Root has been exceptional in all conditions. Again, he also sort of took water off the duck's back this game when he got 100 against Australia in Ashes, which he hasn't done since like 2015, I think it is. A big accomplishment for him. And he looked like $1 million. He looked so good out there. First innings, he was more like classic Joe Root, some really nice cover drives, really nice punches. The way he just like guides the ball through the third man against that single, which again, that's Australia's field placements weren't very good there, but we'll talk about that later. But Joe Root, yeah, he's a masterful batsman to watch. Again, for the first time in his career, he got out stumped. So, but excluding that, he was playing line pretty well.
His first
ever time,
really.
Yeah, he's got stumped.
He was playing line very well in the first innings.
Yeah, exactly. So he played brilliantly. And then in that second innings, I don't know, he just had some beast in him, trying to reverse paddle from first ball. And he continued doing so. He hit like 2 sixes with it and a couple of boundaries. I guess he still has the old Joe Root, but he also has the new Bazball Joe Root too. There's a couple of different comparisons there. And both were pretty good, to be completely honest. He looked brilliant, and he does deserve to be number one. Like the other three names that were there, Smith, Labuschagne, Head, I think Joe Root has been better than all three of them. If you include like the last 2 years, he was like, I know a lot of Australians probably didn't really watch Joe Root against India, but in India, he was the only guy who looked like he could score runs, and he did score runs. And then in England against India again, he looked like the only guy in England who could score runs. And then he went to Australia and struggled, and Australians were like, oh, he's just shit. But he's not. He's actually a very, very good batsman. And yeah, I respect him that he in a team where everyone's like basically hacking around, he still can play old-fashioned Test cricket and still succeed, and he is still their best batsman. That's by a long way. But yeah, very well deserved, I think, him being number one batsman. And then, well, our last point, and I'm pretty sure I know what your answer is going to be on this one, but I wanted to ask you what you thought of England's declaration on day one and whether that is the reason that they lost the game. I know Stokes keeps saying, nah, like we would have done it anyway, but he's not going to admit his mistake, obviously. So, but what do you think? Do you think that's why they lost, or were there other factors?
Yeah, look, I think they missed an opportunity there to really grab the game by the balls, I guess. They had a chance to probably put another 50, 60, possibly, there. And the outcome of the game would have been very different, I think. Honestly, when I saw him first declare, I was sort of like, it's probably a bit too overconfident. Look, I know there's Bazball and there's stupidity, and I thought that was a bit stupid.
I actually was telling you, remember? I was like, he's going to declare.
Yeah.
And then
you were telling me. But yeah, like I was saying, there's Bazball and there's this stupidity, and I think this falls into the stupidity. I was just a bit why would you give away a strong position like that?
Yeah. And even that mental barrier, I'd say 400 as well.
I thought it was a bit dumb. But on the flip side, in saying that, I wouldn't be here saying that if they won the game.
Yeah.
So,
they were pretty close.
And they were pretty close. So, look, I think, like, I respect that that Stokes took that risk and he wanted to be aggressive. But I just think with 4 days left in the game, or 3 days, however long, they declare after day one, right?
Yeah, day one. Yeah.
With so much time left in the game, you really have a lot more time to solidify your position in the game. Like, you can do aggressive declarations in second innings if you need to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I just think, like, you're already sort of giving yourself. Why are you giving away your advantage so early? Yeah. I think that's a bit
shooting yourself in the foot.
It's a bit, it's a bit dumb. Like in the second innings, I understand. I think the thing is, like with England throughout this game, like they started Bazball like in the beginning, and they played attacking, which was fine. But then second innings, it probably called for them to bat more responsibly, and they didn't really adapt. They're just like arrogantly like still trying to play Bazball, and they got, sort of rolled for 260. When really, if they had probably played with if they dug in a little bit more and they could have extended it, you know, even by like another 40 runs, they probably would be the winners of this game. So again, like, you know, if they hadn't declared the first innings, it wouldn't have mattered because they already had the extra 40 runs, you know, to play with. You know what I mean? Like, I think if they're not gonna adapt their playing style to where the conditions change and, you know, it's moving around more, it's being more consistent, you can't just swing and play your baseball style, then really you should be looking to score maximum runs possible in the first innings. Because you know, if you're going to continue playing this way, the second innings, there could be days you get out for like 100, 150. But if you already got 450 first innings, then it's not such a big deal. Like, you know, and they bought out Australia, like, you know, they would have bought Australia for like, what, 390 or something, or 380 or something. It would have had like a, you know, decent, because you had Jared in on 119 not out. Opportunity missed by England, But yeah, like I said, if they had won that game, wouldn't be the case. But my initial thoughts was that was dominant. Yeah, like, it played a big part in them. I think it played a big part in them losing the game. But it probably wasn't the only factor. I think if they batted a little bit, just like 10% more smartly in the second innings, they would have beaten Australia. Yeah, if they just batted a little bit more, a little bit more smarter, taking some probably like, you know, more calculated risks instead of like continuing to play baseball, which is a very risky style of cricket. You know, you have to adapt to the conditions in front of you. Like the best batsmen in the world do that. The best teams in the world that play well in Test cricket, you know, they adapt to conditions. Like Australia, you know, they played their style of cricket, but the second innings they did adapt, you know, to that style. Like, you know, the whole game plan was very obvious that it looked like Quadra is going to dig deep and the other guys are going to try and be attacking. They adapted their sort of style around the conditions in front of them. That was, you know, a major difference there because they weren't like going to be swinging around. Like, you know, they weren't going to have everyone swinging around, you know what I mean? Like swinging the wicket. Like Quadra was there as an anchor. Then you had guys around him which played a bit more attacking, like in the lower order. I think, England missed a chance to probably be a little bit more, and really, they just missed a chance in the first innings. If they'd gotten a few more runs, it would be a very different game. Two things really, I think is a major thing in the outcome of that. Because to be honest, the game was very close, but they actually bowled relatively well throughout the whole game. They kept Australia pretty quiet, very tight bowling. Runs weren't easy to come by. So, the bowling was pretty good and a pretty flat wicket was relatively good, to be honest. Unfortunately, it looks like the batting let them down a little bit there. I think up until Jared and Harry Brook were batting in that second innings, they looked like very comfortable up until, I think they were 3 for 150 odd. But then they got out and then collapse happened. But up until that point, it looked like Australia were like screwed. Like they were just going to let the game slip. And England were going to get like 300, 400 in the second innings too. But yeah, Australia fought back really hard. And I mean, I fully understand points and everything, but I think Ben Stokes and Bazball, they can argue that they were on top for about 3.5 days of this test match, if not nearly 4 daars of this test match. But they just let it slip at the end, really. Yeah, credit to Australia. It was just on their rear side every time. They kept fighting back, kept clawing back every time they got in. It was a great game. England were like always here, and Australia were like always like here and then here. At the end of the day, then England jump ahead, and Australia catch up, and England. But then at the end, Australia just boosted above them instead of catching up. They went over them right on the 5th day. But a brilliant start to hopefully what will be a brilliant series. I know this series has been hyped up like as much as even the 2005 series. People think it's going to be really good, and well, the way it started, I'm sure it will be. Again, we will do a second test preview, so be sure to look out for that. We'll end our review here, and we'll see you guys next time.
It's the calm before the storm. Things aren't as they were.